ॐ शन्नो मित्रश्चं वरुणः शन्नो भवत्वर्यमा शन्न इन्द्रो बृहस्पतिः शन्नो विष्णुरुक्रमः नमो ब्रह्मणे नमस्ते वायो त्वमेव प्रत्यक्षं ब्रह्मासि त्वमेव प्रत्यक्षं ब्रह्म वदिष्यामि ऋतं वदिष्यामि सत्यं वदिष्यामि तन्मामवतु तद्भक्तारमवतु अवतु माम् अवतु भक्तारम् ॐ शान्तिः 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 ॐ सहनौ भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्तिः 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 ॐ ब्रह्मविदाप्नोति परम् तदेशाभ्युक्ता सत्यं ज्ञानमनन्तं ब्रह्म यो वेदनिहितं गुहायां परमे व्योमन् सोऽश्नुते सर्वान् कामान् सह ब्रह्मणो विपश्चितेति. So we have finished the part which is Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma. We have finished that. And then we have also finished this part. Yaha Veda Nihitam Guhayam Parame Vyoman. That part also we have finished. If you have any doubts, just take my word for it right now. So, Yo Veda Nihitam Guhayam, the one who knows in the buddhi, the one who knows, that is what is called. This is the person who is non-separate from Brahman, knows. This also we have finished. Parame Vyoman. What is this Parama Vyoman? Paramam Vyoma. That also we have seen. So we have seen the contentions of the previous acharyas as Avyakrita. Avyakrita means unmanifest. And we have also seen Adi Shankara's explanation of it directly being understood as the buddhi. There is nothing more to it. It is buddhi itself. And the buddhi itself is the Vyoma. And Tasmin Vyomni, in that buddhi, as that buddhi, the one who knows. Okay, then up till now we have been waiting. Okay. So what do I get out of this? Because this is human nature. I have spent 40 and odd classes listening to this, going deep into a hermeneutic analysis and splitting every word. In fact, it's easier to split hairs than to split each and every word of the Upanishad. And we have been doing this Bhashya and this Tika and this and that and everything. So, kuch to milna chahiye na. Something we have to get. I have to get something out of this. You can't just put me through this and then say, this was just, the exercise itself should be rewarding. It is not. Human nature means I want something out of it. Now come on, let me know what is it that I'm getting. I want it right now. In fact, I want it yesterday. As the teenagers talk, these days the young adults say this. I want it yesterday. And so, okay, so what is it that you will get? So this has to be said. And usually it is said at the end. If you look at Kathopanishad, and the person gets this and the person gets that, so there is also a little bit of a Phalashruti, and that is talked about at the end. And then Mundakopanishad also at the end. So generally the place for the Phalashruti, what you get out of something, is at the end. But here, it's at the very beginning. Very beginning. The second sentence itself is talking about the gain of this. By gaining this, what is it that you're going to get? In a way, it is comforting because it gives the incentive to move on with this. Otherwise, the attrition, there'll be an attrition, meaning, people drop out, fadar, 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 they drop off like flies. And so that's how it is. People are very excited about Vedanta. It's not that people are not interested in Vedanta. People are very excited. And then people join with great gusto. They want it. But then somehow there is a disconnect on the empirical level. On the empirical level, the means and the ends, even though they are matched, one doesn't know what is the end or why is this end important. What can I get as a result of this end? How is it going to transform me? That has to be constantly be reiterated in the Upanishad, in teaching the Upanishad. And despite reiterating that, despite keeping on emphasizing that, still somehow the habits, the chronic patterns of, how many people get moksha, tell me, have you seen anybody having moksha? and and even people in orange dress, have you seen how they behave? I mean, do they behave like they should be wearing orange? This is where the mind goes. This is where all the mind goes, and then one is not able to enjoy this knowledge because one is busy criticizing the jagat and everything else. And so therefore what happens is that that disconnect mahbhut, may that disconnect, that disconnect may it not be there. This is one more example of the compassion of the Upanishad, how the Upanishad really is so loving and so kind as to put up with our demands of, I want something yesterday, I wanted it right, I want to be happy, I want everything, I don't want just one thing, I want every single thing that I can get, and I want it yesterday. And so the Upanishad says, okay, let me tell you what you get out of this knowledge, so that you will have a little more, it's like caffeine. So you'll have like a little caffeine drink, and then you will be filled with energy, here mostly mental energy, to go forward. Because these orientations, this viparita bhavana is just not something to be laughed at. It's a huge thing. It has a vice like grip. And even though Shravanam is enough, it is the Mukhya Sadhanam. It's the Mukhya Sadhana for this knowledge. It's the primary sadhana, it's the primary means for this knowledge is Shravanam itself. That should be enough. But most often it's not. Why? Adhikaritva abhavat. Because the adhikaritvam is not fully there. So therefore what? Therefore mananam is needed, nididhyasanam is needed. So many things are needed here. And so therefore so even as one is doing the shravanam, one sort of drops off, loses the interest, loses the connection. Loses interest means what? Loses the connection to how it is going to transform me. That is where the person drops off, because the person cannot see that anymore. And when that happens, that's a dangerous, what should I say, uh, dangerous place. And that's when it has to be quickly corrected. How? Through words like this. Saha soshnute, saha ashnute. This is the part we are going to enter. Saha ashnute. That person, saha ashnute. Ashnute means bhunkte. Ashnute, bhunkte here means enjoys, not exactly eats. So the person enjoys. We should not take the riju artha, means we shouldn't take the straightforward meaning here. Otherwise, eats means what? You go to some kind of buffet. This is something which people in India like to do. We go to a kind of a five-star hotel buffet. Of course, only the people who can afford it, okay? Not everybody. So then buffet means it's like what? 3,000 rupees, 5,000 rupees. 5,000 rupees is not a small sum. It's quite a large sum. So you pay for it, and then it's very confusing because the buffet runs into 3 rooms in the five-star hotel, and then you keep looking here, looking there, and then you feel like you have to just fill your stomach until it bursts. Why? Because you have paid for it. Because you have paid for it, you have this pressure of filling the stomach. So saha ashnute, what? If you take ashnute as eats, what ashnute? Sarvan kaman. Sarvan kaman means all the desires. Kaman means it's not that the desires you eat, it's the objects of desires you enjoy. You do bhoga of the objects of desires. So kaman here is kamya. Kamya you have to take. So that which is kama yogya, meaning object of desire. So all the objects of desire, the person is ready to eat and in fact assimilates all the objects of desire. How? How can somebody have all the objects of desire at once? It's how is that even possible? Because this is something completely out of our league, experientially speaking. Experientially speaking, what is the how do we enjoy anything? Kramena, one by one. You have the appetizer, I mean, going again with the buffet picture. Then you you have you have a few starters. Then you have some salad and what all. That is all part of the appetizers. Then you have the main dish, and then you have dessert, one after the other. Yugapat ashnute, meaning if you are eating everything at once, then in your salad you should mix the chocolate cake and then the pasta and everything, and let's see how that tastes. That sounds disgusting. So therefore, this is completely out of our league. How to understand this? How to even bend our minds on this, because we are used to only fulfilling at best one desire at a time. Why? Because that's how it is. The human mind, or even the dog mind, the cat mind, everything. The antakarna is such that you can only fulfill one desire at a time. You can't fulfill all desires at once, but here there is a ridiculous, ridiculous promise that is made. And what is that promise? Sarvan kaman yugapat samashnute. Yugapat means the all at the same time. How at the same time you can do that? Well, this is because because it is connected to this word vidwan. Yahaveda. That's why that Yahaveda is very, very important. That's why we spent a lot of time analyzing that. Yahaveda means the one who knows. The one who knows. So the knowing is contingent to overcoming this the limitations, the so-called limitations of what is called this enjoyment, etc., etc. So this is the idea. So then let us look at this. Let us look at the Bhashya here. Here, Brahma Vidyayaha Phalam, number 27 on page 270. Okay, yeah. Saha evam Brahma Vijanan
एवं ब्रह्म विजानन्
kim ityaha
किम् इत्याह
ashnute
अश्नुते
bhunkte
भुङ्क्ते
सर्वान् निरवशिष्टान् कामान्
सर्वान् निरवशिष्टान् कामान्
काम्यान् भोगान् इत्यर्थः.
काम्यान् भोगान् इत्यर्थः.
किम् अस्मदादिवत्
किम् अस्मदादिवत्
पुत्र
पुत्र
Svargadin
Swargadin
Paryayena
Paryayena
Na
Na
Ityaha
Ityaha
Saha
Saha
Yugapat
Yugapat
Ekakshana
Ekakshana
Parudhaneva
Uparudhaneva
Ekaya Upalabdhya
Ekaya Upalabdhya
Savitra Prakashavat
Savitri Prakashavat
Nityaya
Nityaya
Brahmaswarupa
Brahmaswarupa
Avyatiriktaya
Abhyatiriktaya
Yam Avocham
Yam Avochama
Satyam Jnanamanantamiti.
Satyam Jnanamanantamiti.
Yeah, that's more than enough because we'll be here for a while. Okay, so Saha Eva Evam, yeah, not Eva, Evam Brahma Vijanan. No, Evam means what? In this manner. Saha Evam Brahma Vijanan. Vijanan means Yah Veda. The one who knows, Saha, that one, knows what? Guhayam Nihitam Brahma. Buddhau Pratyak Atmataya Sthitam Brahma. So the one who knows this Brahman as Atma, all that we have to bring back. We can't just sort of say, this is not some kind of a new discussion. This is a continuation. All that we have to bring back. Saha means who? The Yaha Veda. Yo Veda Nihitam Guhayam, that one. So the one that knows how that this Brahman is Buddhau Nihitam, is obtained in the Buddhi. How? Pratyaktaya, as oneself. Pratyaktaya Sthitam Brahma. The one that is in the form of this I, as oneself, the one is available. And so in this Guha, the Buddhi, the one who obtains that Brahman which obtains as I. Why? Because Jnana Swarupatvat. Because it is in the form of Jnanam. It is in the form of all knowledge. And that knowledge is consciousness. And that consciousness is you. You cannot be anything other than consciousness. The problem, as I said last time, is that everybody wants to be conscious of consciousness, and that's not possible, and that's not needed either. You cannot be conscious of consciousness because it's not an object, and you need not be conscious of consciousness because it is self evident. So this is the reason why that block is there usually. So therefore, that which obtains in the buddhi, which is what jnanam brahma, and that's why we spent a lot of time talking about what jnanam is, which is pratyaktaya, which exists as one's innermost self, that awareness. Innermost means the one that transcends the body mind complex, the body mind sense complex, and that one which exists as consciousness, which exists as atma, which is in fact the real meaning of the word I. So that in that buddhi, the buddhau sthitam brahma. So how does the person know? Abhedena, the one who knows it as I am non-separate from this Brahman, like that, the one who knows. Abhedena janati, the one who knows without a doubt, and the one who knows abhedena means in a non-separate way, the one who knows, and then abhedena buddhau sthitam brahma, tad brahma ahamasmi iti. And then yaha, and we also saw the vritti jnanam. So vritya yaha veda. That veda shabda is connected to vritti jnanam because it is communicated through the vritti. Vritti means a particular modification in the mind that happens when you listen to the teachings. And therefore, Brahma Vritya Yaha Veda, the one who is no more in ignorance of Brahma. So because Brahman is not an object of sight, etc., the one who still knows that this Brahman I am, this consciousness I am. So Buddhav Sthitam Brahma Yaha Veda, what happens to this person? Saha Ashnute. he or she, evam vijanam. So then, what will I get? This is what I said, this is almost like a Brahma Vidyayaha phalam. This is the discussion of the goodies that you get out of Brahma Vidya. So what do I get? Everybody wants to know this. Even a child wants to know this. That's why, you have to keep buying those gold stars and everything. All those teachers at school, you have to keep putting each child's name. It starts at age 4, in kindergarten. And then you keep putting some stars and giving some rewards for all kinds of things. Every single step of the way, there is some reward or the other. Without reward, the child will not study, will not learn. And that habit doesn't go away even in adulthood, because there is a part of one that never grows up. So that one still needs some stars and needs some encouragement, needs something or the other. And so therefore, this is all, the person in Hindi, we call such a person matlab wala. Matlab wala means always there is something there. Some purpose should be there. Something should be there. Nobody does anything for just the sake of it. Something should be gained out of it. If it is not gained, then it is, it's of no use. Something should be gained. And so like this, so what is the phala? Phala means here the fruit. What is the fruit of this knowing? Because everybody wants to know this, and not know this meaning know Brahman. It's not that people want to know Brahman, people want to know what do I get out of Brahman. What do I get out of knowing this? Kim praptam iti. Aha, what did I achieve? This person became Brahmavid. Brahmavid apnoti param. It was told, what is this param? And that param was told as Satyam Jnanam Anantam. Okay, I understood with great difficulty what this Satyam Jnanam Anantam is. And I understood it at myself. Where is my star? Where is my reward now? And so Ashnute. Ashnute means prapnoti. Bhukte. So prapnoti, and then that's a good meaning, because Brahmavid apnoti param, earlier it was told. So this apnoti and prapnoti, same thing. So this apnote hai, for this meaning, apnoti, he gives ashnute, param ashnute, meaning Brahmaiva bhavati. The person is as good as Brahman, quote unquote, becomes Brahman. Doesn't become, already was Brahman, but now comes to know that one is Brahman. So then, because people are generally, what should I say, doers, and people have an orientation of an agent, or they have an orientation of a bhokta. What is a bhokta? An experience. Either one is a doer or one is an experience. And this is how the whole life, doer, experiencer, experiencer. Why? Because this was 8 hour long sleep, only experience. And then doer. Why doer 3 times? Because some deadline came. And so one was busy doing all the time. So this is what it is. The whole life is doer, experiencer, doer, experiencer. Those are the only two orientations the person knows. And so therefore the achievement is very important, and everybody is driven, product driven. They're not process driven. And even self growth, emotional maturity, all this they want to make into a product. That also should be a product. And in fact, what is the product of self growth? Self growth. So really speaking, that cannot be a product, which is in fact the process itself. No, I want a product. What is the end point of this? I want to know right now, and I want to get, and that's why there are all these things. If you join a company, if you give an interview, they ask you, where do you see yourself in 5 years? And you cannot say, I hope to be a parivrajaka. I hope to be just roaming around without any kind of without needing any kind of what should I say, employment or this or anything like that, and without needing any security. I hope to be a parivrajaka. I hope to have jnana nishtha. These are the wrong answers to give in the interview. In the interview, you should say things like, oh, this company is here. I should have read up enough about the company. I'd like to take it over there. And so you have inserted yourself already there even before you got the job. And then all the interviewers are impressed. Oh, yeah, you are such a good fit. When would you like to join? And this is how it is. This is exactly how it is. And so everybody is this achievement oriented. And then if you try to, and even though they are students of Vedanta, still achievement orientation is there. And if you try to wean them off of it, they will just wean themselves off the knowledge itself. And so therefore, what therefore this discussion has to be had. This has to be given here. And then so what is the promise here? Sarvan kaman ashnute. So Sarvan means what? No, Sarvan kaman samashnute, samyak ashnute. All the desires are fulfilled. This is all, after all, an Indian text. And if you know one thing about Indians is that they are given to hyperbole. They like to exaggerate. They like to just, and they know they are exaggerating. Even the people who are listening to them know that they are exaggerating. They like to exaggerate. And we have very wonderful examples and we have in India we have what is called not specific speech. We have kind of general speak. We are into general speak. I'll give some examples, but we are into general speak. Why? Because the specifics, the hearer understands, especially if they share the same kind of a culture, they understand. Like, for example, Kerala. Kerala is very rainy, especially these days in the monsoon, which this year has come very soon. That's why it's called monsoon. So then, so we are in the middle of the monsoons. And if you live in Kerala, then definitely, what is that? Definitely you will be in the middle of a lot of, you don't know when it rains, and once it starts raining, it will rain for 2-3 days in a row like this. So Mumbai also like that. So supposing if somebody were to say, Sarve Keraliyaha, all the people living in Kerala, belonging to Kerala, Chhatrinaha, they are owners of umbrella. They are all owners of umbrella. Now, is this true? Well, nobody has gone and done an umbrella census. Okay, how do they really own umbrella? Maybe they own a raincoat. Maybe they own a tarp which they take above them. That's also a kind of a, what should I say, rain gear in India. And so maybe they own a tarp. Maybe they protect themselves with a tarp or a raincoat. Maybe they don't have an umbrella. But here it's the law of the majority. You see, survey means here there is a sankocha there. It's a sankuchita sarva shabda, meaning the sarva shabda has sankocha doesn't mean shy. Okay, sankocha means what is that? It is constricted. So here there is a little bit of a constriction for this. What is that called? For this sentence. All the people in Kerala are wielders of the umbrella, or they are the owners of umbrella. So then, or even in the sentence, Chhatrinaha Yanti. Here goes, here go all the people who are, having umbrellas. Maybe one or two people are sharing the umbrellas. We don't know that, because all you see are umbrellas. You don't see the people. And so like this, there are all these, ancient examples. And what these examples illustrate is a very interesting thing they illustrate. They illustrate that there is a certain kind of a law of majority. And so whenever you use the word sarva, don't take it too seriously. It's not each and every person. It's just more or less everybody. Because naturally it's a rainy place. If you go to Kerala, you better have an umbrella. That's how the maxim is. Okay. So this usually when you use the word sarva in everyday sentences, then there is a little bit of a sankocha for the word. The word undergoes a restriction. There is a sankocha. So then, so if you say that, like for example, in people who go to five-star hotels, sarve api dhanikaha, meaning they are all very wealthy. Maybe they are not all wealthy. Maybe they have brought along some poor relations and they are also there to enjoy someday. Who we don't know. And so like this, so this is the Sarva Shabda always has this Sankocha. So can we say that here also the Upanishad also Sarvam Kamam Samashnute means not all the desires, your main major desires perhaps, but not all of them. Okay? No. Since it's the Upanishad, we have to take the Sarva Shabda seriously. No Sankocha. Nothing is left. That's why the word sarva is immediately followed up. There is a sakalartha, there is a sakalyam there. So it's immediately followed by Bhashyakara's explanation of sarva, which is what sarvan kaman. Sarvan means what? Niravashishtan. Beautiful. That's how he indicates that in this regard, there is no sankocha for the Sarva Shabda. The Sarva Shabda has no restriction here, no conditioning, no smallness here, or no mostly everybody, mostly all desires. No. Why? Because the word Sarva is explained by Adi Shankara as Sarvan Kaman, as Niravashishtan. Avashishtan means leftover. Avashishtan. That is what it is. Leftover, don't think food here, okay, that you keep in the fridge. That's that's usually what we think of when we say leftover. But here, leftover means anything that is remaining. Anything that is remaining. And here there is nothing remaining. Niravashishtan, meaning there is not a single thing that is remaining. And so therefore there is no that there is a sakalyartha. The Sarva Shabda has sakalyartha, means it is full. All objects, known objects, unknown objects, any object, all the desires, by knowing Brahman, that person who is the Vidwan gains. By knowing Brahman, how? As the I. And what I? That which obtains in the buddhi. As this Brahman, the one who knows, buddhau. And buddhi here is, the meaning is for this upalabdhi sthana, okay? And then it is not only upalabdhi sthana, but it is also nihitam Brahma. It is pratyaktaya nihitam. It is available as I. And so therefore, tad Brahma yaha Veda, the one who knows, what do they gain? Niravashishtan kaman ashnute. The person enjoys all the desires. And then the word kama, he talks about. Kama means desires. And then he says, he translates kama as kamyan. Because the word kama only means desires. But here, you're not enjoying the desires per se. This is Adi Shankara's carefulness. You're enjoying not the desires, but the object of desires. Usually, when you say, oh, my desire got fulfilled. So the desire got fulfilled, giving place to object of desire. And that object of desire is what one has gained. And that is why it is kamya, kama yogya. Kama yogya, that is kamya. And then, so this, so baki kuch nahi hai, there is no balance left out. Means all the things that you know and you love, all the things that you do not know, and but you still want to gain, like heaven, etc. All the things that so that is the meaning of the word sarva. Things you know plus the things you do not know make up the word all. All the objects known to you, all the objects unknown to you, plus all the objects unknown to you make the entirety. And so therefore, sarvan kaman, he says, bhoga vishayan. Why does Adi Shankara talk about bhoga vishaya? Because the human being is interested in bhoga. In bhoga, that's what it is. All the karmas are in order to be a bhokta. So one is not interested in being a karta. One is not interested in being just doing for the sake of doing. No. That would make it karma yoga. For the sake of that action, I'm doing it prayerfully. No. People are generally interested in the outcome of of the action. And so this phala is there. And so that's why one gets caught up in many, many situations. And so therefore what? So this is this is what it is. So therefore sarvan niravashishtan kaman bhumte, because all the desires are fulfilled in one stroke. No more matlab wala. Matlab wala means the one who has a lot of desire. Only wala is there, only the person is there. That's what it is. And so then, so the person who was a wanting person before the study of the Upanishads now is fulfilled. A fulfilled person, a non wanting person. And so this is and then no more wondering what will I get, because the one has already got. So therefore this is what, and that wantingness is gone. And so therefore what, this, so if you follow dharma, artha and kama, the three purusharthas, then you will still have a lot of avashishta. Avashishta means leftover desires. Because dharma gives you a certain peace of mind, but then you want more, you want more, you want more. And then after a while, you get upset when the other person is adharmic. They are not dharmic. What's wrong with them? Like this. You want more. And then artha and kama, of course, very difficult to fulfill those desires. The more you want them, the more elusive they are, and even if you get them, it is very, very difficult. And so therefore what, this is what jnanena, but here this is moksha phalam. Jnana phalam, brahma vidyayaha phalam is moksha phalam. The fruit of knowledge, the fruit of knowledge of Brahman as oneself is the pursuit of moksha. Moksha means sarvan kaman ashnute. Moksha means the knower and the wanting person is knocked off. This is why it is drastically different from any other branch of knowledge, because in all other branches of knowledge, the knower is kept intact. The knower knows. And this is what it is. And that's why we have some very interesting words, especially in American English. It's like a catch and kill mentality. How did you do? I killed it. First time when I heard this expression, I killed it, somebody said, how did you do in your exam? I killed it, the person said. I said, what is the meaning of this? No, I did very well. So that kind of a expression does not work for knowledge of Brahman. It works for every other area. So when you approach the knowledge of Brahman, you have to allow it to, you cannot tackle it. It has to tackle you. It has to tackle you as a pramana. It has to attack you. You cannot attack it. And it has to kill the ahankara as a separate entity off. So this catch and kill, you have to allow yourself to be caught by the pramana. Not only taught by the pramana, but caught by the pramana, caught and taught. You have to be. And that this is why this knowledge is very different. This is why people don't understand this pursuit at all. This is why people drop off. This is why people get disappointed and discouraged, because this one thing is not understood. Here I am surrendering, submitting to a means of knowledge and allowing for the knower to be erased as a separate entity. That jnata as a separate entity, this is samsara. Jnayam is separate. Jnayam means object of knowledge. Object of knowledge separate, jnata separate, and then what else? Jnanam, the means of knowledge separate. This is what is the recipe for sorrow and fear. Because everything that I know is separate from me. Everything that I want is separate away from me. And everything is finite. And so therefore that this doesn't work. This catch and kill and conquer mentality. I came, I saw, I conquered. This doesn't work at all. And so, therefore, moksha, pursuing moksha means this through this knowledge, jnanena eva sarvan kaman samashrute. So sarvan kaman, here doesn't mean, the people, especially certain acharyas, if you go to, they will interpret this very differently. They will say that you have to die because there is no freedom in this life. In this life, moksha, you can kiss it goodbye because there is no such thing possible, and so you have to die. And once you drop this body, then you go sit with Brahmaji, where in Brahmaloka, and then you mm, enjoy lots of wonderful goodies. From Lord Brahmaji will have a wonderful feast for you, and you enjoy all the goodies. You keep eating, and then Sarvan Kama Nashnute, like this. They take it literally. So Brahmana Saha, along with Brahman, goes to Brahmaloka, not Brahman, along with Prajapati, Lord Brahmaji goes to Brahmaloka. And then Divyan Bhogan Samashrute, celestial delights, the person eats. And you see, for us, for the Veda, for us who are Vedantins, it is very, very easy to see this, to see the problem with this. Because for us, there is no, this is not, for us, any loka. There are no lokas. All lokas are locally. In fact, the word loka must have come, the local must have come from the word loka only. For us, even Brahmaloka, which is so far away, supposedly so difficult to reach, etc., is still local. Meaning, it is a place. If it is a place, then it has some problems, and because then that it becomes finite, it becomes place bound, time bound, space bound, all these things. And so, for us, we are not interested in lokas. Moksha phala, the moksha phalarthi is not interested in loka at all. So, sarvan kaman samashnute. So, then, so kaman is kamya vishayan, kama vishayan, bhogan. And so, experiences every bhoga. Bhoga is what bhujyate iti bhoga, that which is experienced by you happily. That is what is called bhoga. Like, what do you get as a result of this bhoga? Sukha, what else? Sukha is there. Sukha Vishesha you will have. And then, so anything you object of delight you intake, and then you have Sukha Vishesha. And then there is, so here, there is no more bhogya. And there is nothing more to experience. There is nothing more to pursue. And then there is nothing more to gain. And this also we cannot wrap our minds around. At the most, we can say perhaps it's like a young CEO of some big corporation. Through the dint of intelligence and hard work and everything, the fellow rose up, and now he has reached maximum efficiency, cannot be promoted anymore. No, that's the only kind of understanding we have. No, that's not it. Because if you look at such a person, then they get bored afterwards. They don't know what to do with themselves. Look at that Facebook person, they don't know what to do with themselves. All the money they have at a young age, everything they have, they don't know what to do with themselves. And that's not the idea, even though the mind goes there. Very, very, what should I say? Very naturally, the mind goes there. Maybe this is what it is. And so then Adi Shankara asks a question. So Sarvan Kaman Samashrute, gains a sense of completion, gains a sense of Purnatvam, Purnata, by enjoying all the delights and all the desires at once. Then how? How Samashnute? How does this person enjoy? Please tell more in detail. Adi Shankara asks some rhetorical question. Kim, what? Asmadadivat, asmat, you can just take away the mat and us. Us is the meaning of asmat, us. Okay, so just like us, asmadadivat, just like all of us. What? Putra Swargadin. So just like how asmadadivat means how we do bhoga. How do we do bhoga? Kramena. Kramena, one by one. Like what? Putra, child first, and then Swarga. Mm, this is Bhashyakara again. I wondered like why Putra and Swarga are put together, child and heaven are put together. This is Bhashyakara's beauty because the two cannot be enjoyed at the same time. To enjoy Putra, you have to be here in a mortal body. To enjoy Swarga, you cannot be here. And without this body, you have to enjoy with a different body, Swarga. So that's why it is kept. One is aihika, meaning here, based, connected to that which is here, the empirical, and then amushmika, that which is otherworldly afterlife. And so, therefore, the two are given, the two human ends. One is aihika, means that which is iha, enjoyed iha, here itself. And then one which is enjoyed somewhere else. So, amushmika, so elsewhere in another life, etc. So, both those goals are given at the same time to see the incredulity, how incredible it is that the person enjoys putra and swarga at the same time. How can you enjoy the child and the heaven at the same time? Not possible. Not at all possible. And so, therefore, he is given this very nice contrast so that we can appreciate the seriousness of this discussion and enjoy this discussion even more. And so he says, Kim asmadadivata putra swargadin. How? Paryayena. Generally, the word paryaya shabda means, what is that called in English? That you look up in the thesaurus? Synonym. It's generally means, paryaya means synonym. But here, paryaya doesn't mean synonym, it means one by one. Kramena ityartha. Okay? Na iti aha. Na iti ah. No. And who is this saying no? The Upanishad is saying no. Na. Not like Asmadadivat, not like all the people in the universe who enjoy things, who can enjoy things only one after the other. Even if you are having, coffee and cake. In fact, there is such a thing called coffee cake. So I suppose it's not coffee that has cake in it, or it's not cake that has coffee in it, but it is something that's supposed to be enjoyed with coffee. So even if you are having cake with coffee, then you have a sip of coffee and then you have a bite of cake. You can't do that all at the same time. It'll taste terrible. And so like this is how all the enjoyments take place that we know of. And so what other enjoyment are we talking about here that this vidwan is enjoying? And this is so beautiful because the Adi Shankara explained this very nicely. Na iti aha. No, not at all like one by one. Kramena, sequentially. Kramena means sequentially. Not at all sequentially. Then what? Saha. This Saha word is very interesting. And, we in the beginning we teach, Brahmanaha putrena saha gacchati. Putrena saha gacchati. The word saha takes the third case. So, saha means along with. And so here Brahmana Saha Samashnute. Here again the Vaishnavas, the people who want to take this literally, are waiting to pounce. They say, yeah, see, and the Mimamsakas and the Vishishtadvaitins and everybody, they want to see it sequentially. And so how do they say, how do they go about it? They just say, okay, see, here we got another clue that this is not some oneness, etc. So he goes to Brahmaloka, she goes to Brahmaloka, he sits down. Who? With who? with Brahmaji. And in that same thali, Brahmaji is feeding him also, just like the mother. If there is a small child, the mother, and sometimes you have invited people over to dinner, and a mother has brought a small toddler along with her. There's a mother and a small baby, and so you are about to give a plate for the baby, and the mother says, "No, no, no." She will just waste it. I will just put it on my plate and I'll just put it in my lap and feed the baby. So she will have 4 or 5 bites, and one bite goes to the toddler because it can't eat much. And there's no need to, it'll make a big mess. So there doesn't need a different plate. The mother will feed out of her own plate. So, like that, here, Brahmana Saha Ashnute Samashnute. Is it like that? Because in a way that's comforting. I'm on Brahmaji's lap after studying Upanishad. I'm sitting in Brahmaji's lap. Nice. Father, Jagat Pita, the father of the universe. I'm sitting in the father's lap. And then I'm getting some, he is eating. And then in between, he's also feeding me. This is not what is talked about at all. This is not what is talked about. He is not like the grandfather of the universe and the creator of the universe, and along with him, I am going and sitting and eating. That is not how to interpret this. Adi Shankara is very, very clear. So he quickly changes the meaning of the word saha to not along with, but yugapat. Yugapat means simultaneously. Saha means yugapat. Yugapat means at instantaneous. Instantaneously you enjoy. So that's why he asked the question that Kim Asmadadivat, like us, like all of us, then why Putra Swarga Paryayena Bhukte? So you enjoy one thing and then you enjoy something here, there, and something here, one after the other. And then because of what? Because of karma. This is all, and he's going to point that out later in the next discussion. Because of karma, partly because of karma, that you enjoy everything. Whatever you enjoy is because of karma. And then another reason is because of the sense organs, the eyes, etc., etc. Eyes, the hearing, etc. So because of that, so therefore, it's all because of a certain karma. So if you have to enjoy Swarga, what has to happen? This body has to go. You can't go along with this body, because if you take this body there, it will have all kinds of problems. It already has problems. So Swarga means you have to enjoy much more than you enjoy here. And so you drop this body and then go to Swarga. You can only enjoy one thing at a time. It's not like this at all. He's going to point out. So Kramena, so for all of us, for like human beings, and all of us means in the Martya Loka, in the world of mortals, for all the jivas, human beings, etc., there's only one thing you can enjoy at a time. And what you enjoy, the cow cannot enjoy. What the cow enjoys, you cannot enjoy. The dog enjoys chasing its own tail. That enjoyment will always be denied to you. You can never enjoy that. Why? Because you don't have a tail. That's simple. That's why. And so, like this, this is, and then there are all these celestial beings, Gandhas, Gandharvas, Yakshas, and Kinnaras, all these things. They also, whatever they enjoy, you cannot enjoy. Whatever you enjoy, they cannot enjoy. And so, therefore, this is this is the first problem, to wrap the mind around what is being said here, because it is totally out of one's league. It is totally out of one's experience. It's not possible at all. And so then the second problem here is the word saha. So the saha means what? Then you see, Brahmanaha putrena saha gacchati. Why? Bhikshartham, let's say. So for the sake of bhiksha, to go and have some, to have some food or whatever. So goes along with the sun. So the pradhana karta is who? Who is the main agent in this sentence? The Brahmana goes with his son for lunch. Who is the agent of action? It's not the sun. The sun is just tagging along. The agent is Brahmana. The karta here, the subject of the sentence is Brahmana. The boy or the son just goes along with it. Okay. So if we do this, if we translate this as in the same way, saha, as we have seen, if we translate it like this, along with, then it jivatvam will never go. We will never have the moksha as a possibility at all, because you will just be a clause in somebody else's sentence. So this jiva samyak ashnute. Why? How brahmana saha. So Brahma, then Brahma Ashnute, and then Brahma Samashnute, and then what? Jivena Saha. Along with this Jiva, Brahman is enjoying. So the enjoyment of Brahman, that is Pradhana. The Jiva is an afterthought, just like the child eating a few bites off its mother's plate. It is not, this is not Anantyam. This is not the promise of Anantyam. The Anantyam means Ananta, Anantasya Bhava. The limitlessness that was discussed earlier. Because then, if I am just tagging along with Brahman, then I am not having that enjoyment at all. I am dependent on Brahman to give me that Brahman or Brahmaji, however you want to interpret it. I have to, I'm dependent upon that. And this is what it is. And so, so here, the Vidwan also goes and goes along with Brahman. No, not at all. It is not like that at all. And this is so you cannot become apradhana. Even as a karta here, you cannot become apradhana. And so this saha ashnute, therefore what? Yugapat ityarthaha. Yugapat means this Yaugyapatyam should be there, means that simultaneity must be there. And Sarvan Kaman simultaneously Ashnute, enjoys at the same time Natu Kramena, not one by one. Very nicely, explained by Bhashyakara, very, very nicely. And therefore, then it's not like this, no, now Swarga, now Brahmaloka, now Putra, no. Yugapat Ashnute. And then this means that there's only one way to enjoy like this. That means you are enjoying without using the upadhi. Upadhi means what? The mind and then the senses. And so if the mind and senses and the ahankara, of course, the mano, buddhi, chitta, ahankara, if these fellows are involved, it will only be kramena enjoyment. It will only be enjoyment one by one. It can never be at the same time. That's why that's why when we talk about Ishvara, etc., enjoys everything. Why? Because there is no limiting factor for the jivas, especially for the human beings here, because that's who we are discussing. For the jivas, so many limiting factors. Mind is a limiting factor. But how is a mind limiting factor? Because the object of enjoyment may be right in front of you. But then what happens? I don't feel like enjoying. Why? Because I'm in a bad mood. See, already, because the mind is there, then immediately there is a curtailment of that enjoyment because the mind is there. And this is, so the mind has got a problem. The senses, that's why you cannot enjoy. The senses have a problem. Sometimes they function and sometimes they don't function very well, especially with age, etc. And so then, and the mind also, it can only objectify one thing at a time. That's why in the meditation, people keep asking, should I imagine a form? Do not imagine a form. Just do the mantra. You have a mantra, just repeat the mantra. Oh, but I have Dakshinamurti mantra. How nice it would be to visualize Lord Dakshinamurti. You try, I tell you, once you visualize, the mantra will go out the window. Will go out of the window. And then if you are, say, and then also, even with visualizing the form, how are you going to visualize? When you see the feet, you don't see the head. When you see the head, you don't see the arms. When you see the arms, you don't see the legs. Like this it is. Like Rahu Ketu. You see the head, but not the feet. And then, or you see the feet, but you don't see the head. This is the problem. This visualization thing is a problem. This is exactly why the limitations of the mind are laid there in this example. So when you visualize something, you can only do it part by part. You can't seem to do it all at once. And so therefore, that's why that's why here the mind can only because it can only objectify one thing at a time. Then you cannot do this bhoga. You experience the sukha at what is that? Sequential sukha. That's what it is. But then so the word bhoga don't take seriously because it is just upachara, because everybody is interested in bhoga. Bhoga here means just what you get out of it. That's all. That's what it is. And then so then he explains the word yugapat in the proportion that we read. What does he say? Eka kshana uparudhan. ಏಕಕ್ಷಣ ಅವಚ್ಛಿನ್ನಂ ಯುಗಪತ್ ಏಕಕ್ಷಣ uparudhan. Because in one kshana, in one moment, uparudhan means abiding in that one moment. In ekakshana, in the buddhi, when in one moment, you cannot have everything. Everything cannot be there. All the objects of enjoyment simultaneously cannot be there at all. So therefore, what does this ekakshana means? It is to get away. It is the opposite of kramena. It is the opposite of sequential. This ekakshana avacchinnam means in that moment itself, everything is there. It is not sequential. That's why ekakshana uparudhan, all objects in a single moment are experienced by you. How is that possible? Ekakshana uparudhan. How to achieve this? Further, he says, ekaya upalabdhya. One cognition. And what is that cognition? Jnana Swarupa Ahamas. Jnana Swarupa Ahamasmi. Jnana Swarupa. I am in the form of Jnana Swarupa. And then Jnanena Upalabdhihi. I know this because I have this. I'm no longer ignorant of who I am. Yahaveda, I'm no more ignorant. Of what? I'm Chaitanya, I'm Satyam Jnanam Anantam, I'm consciousness. And that consciousness is the upalabdhi here. Ekaya upalabdhya, gaining that one consciousness, one non-dually one consciousness, gaining that alone, what? And he says that, what kind of consciousness? Savitra prakashavat, like the light of the sun, which is non-separate from the sun. Like the light of the sun, gaining this which is like the light of the sun, Savitra Prakashavat. And why this Savitra Prakashavat? Why this sun becomes so important? Because it's one thing you cannot switch off. It is always the same. You cannot switch off the sun. There is no big switch that you can just flip the switch. There's no kill button for the sun. And then, so therefore, this is, so therefore what? Ekaya upalabdhya. Savitya. So one, gaining that one consciousness, like recognizing that one, gaining means recognizing. What other gain is there? It's not an object. So it cannot be literally gained. So recognizing that one consciousness, ekaya upalabdhya, recognizing or obtaining as that consciousness, like even Savitra Prakashavat, like the light of the sun, Nityaya, like the light of the sun. And then so the nature of the Atma being Prakasha Swarupa, because it lights up everything, it is, as I have told you many times, it is likened to the sun. So Savitra Prakashavat, because it is like the sun, it's like the Sakshi. That Sakshi, the witness, the one who is there, and then it is not dependent on vritti. Sakshi is not dependent on vritti. Yeah. And so here, the one who knows that I alone am, that I am is not dependent on either a thought or a some kind of a proof or a corroboration. That I am, which means I know I am. I am, I know I am. And so this is the one. And so Nityaya Upalabdhya means that this is eternal I am. Timeless I am. Timeless I know I am. Not bound by anything. Not bound by object wise, space wise, time wise. And then he says Brahma Swarupa Avyatiriktaya. It is this, Pratyak Chaitanyena, that consciousness which is not separate from the nature of Brahman, nature which is Brahman. What is the nature of Brahman? Jnanam, consciousness. That's all it is. Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam, that Jnanam. Same thing. Previously, all this we have studied, all this was pointed out. That is the Swarupa of I. So the word jnanam is most important here, because that consciousness which is Brahman, that awareness which is I, are one and the same, non-separate from that Brahman it is. And so knowing this, yugapat ashnute, sarvan kaman yugapat ashnute. And so then upalabdhya, ekaya upalabdhya, it was talked about. What is this upalabdhi? Yam avochama jnanam iti, about which we have already talked about before, he says, Adi Shankara. What? With reference to which upalabdhi alone we had pointed out the word jnanam, jnapti swarupa. That awareness which is the real meaning of the word Chaitanya, which is the meaning of Swaprakasha, self-lit, self-effulgent, self-evident. We can't gloss over this, because everything becomes evident to I. I am self-evident. That I alone we are talking about. No, nothing else. That I which is always shines as I know I am, I know I am, I know I am. And that, how long does it shine? It does not shine in time. In fact, time unfolds on that I know I know I am, on that canvas. Time unfolds on that I know I am. Space unfolds I know on that I know I am. That awareness, all objects become evident to that awareness, which is free from becoming evident to anything else other than itself. So it is self-evident, and then everything becomes evident to me. I am self-evident. This Chaitanya Swarupa is indeed Brahma Swarupa, this Mahavakya, the one who has assimilated, the one who has ingested Sarvan Kaman Samashnute, gains everything. And so Savitra Prakashavat Avabhasate. So it shines by itself. Then that is what it is. Brahmana saha. Brahmana saha, Brahma bhutah vidwan Brahma swarupena iva sarvan kaman saha ashnute. Brahmana saha means here, it is not the Tritiya in the sense of, Brahmanena saha putraha, putrena saha Brahmanah gacchati. It's not like that. It's not like along with the sun the Brahmana is going. Not like that. So what is this here? The third case is a special usage of the third case, a rare and special usage called Itham Bhute Tritiya. Itham Bhute Tritiya means in the form of Brahman. That's what it is. It's not along with Brahman. because then it will give a different meaning. Then it will give some kind of a, you are having companionship of Brahman. Brahman, of course, is very powerful, and you are sitting there, waiting for some scraps at the table of Brahman, like a little doggy, one is sitting. No, this is a very sad picture, because that's not what we want to, that's not what we want at all. So Brahmana Saha here means in the form of Brahman. Which Brahman? That Chaitanya Swarupa, that Atma Swarupa, that Brahman alone. Atma Swarupena Brahmana Saha, in the form of that Brahman, which is myself. Samyak Ashnate. And the person enjoys Yogapat. So we'll stop here for now, and then we'll see next time. And let's see. I have put the new timetable. I'll share that with you here also. I have put the new timetable in the where website. I have put it on the website, so please look at that. We will be having. I want to not have the class tomorrow. We will have the Gita Bhashya on Monday night. We will have this class. Will not meet tomorrow, and there is a new schedule for the coming weeks. This class will be at a slightly different time for the next 2 weeks, and so please bear with me, because I thought instead of canceling it, it's better to have it so that we maintain the regular weekend timings. In case you're not able to make it, you can always go to the YouTube channel and then watch it for the next 2 weeks. But if you can make it, it will be wonderful to have you here. So let me share that timetable here, which is, yeah, here it is. 1 second. I'll share it in the chat pod, and then you can also look at that. We will be also studying a new text called Vakya Vritti, and that also you can do that. You can be part of that. Okay. Let me share. I don't think I can share the thing itself. Hold on. I'll share the link. Now, this is not of much use. It is more of a JPEG. But this will give you an idea, but it's not clickable, but it's in the same classroom, so you can look at that. And it's also on the website. There is a downloadable link. You can go there. So the class schedule is there. Everything is there. Everything will meet. We'll have Shatashloki. We will have Bodhasara, Mundakopanishad. All that will be at the correct the regular times. The only thing that is going to change is the Taittiriya Upanishad, and that is going to be on the East Coast time, 12:30 to 1:45 or something like that, on the for the East Coast time. Okay, so that will be on Saturday and Sunday. So tomorrow this class will not meet. All right. ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ॐ शान्तिः 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 हरिः ॐ श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः हरिः ॐ थैंक यू